So spring is in the air, and everywhere I go I see kids in uniforms. Baseball, softball, lacrosse, soccer, little and big kids, uniforms of all colors and designs, rec sports, high school sports, club sports, college sports. So why am I talking about sports today? Well, our staff's recently been walking through a book called The Real Life Discipleship Training Manual by Jim Putnam. And every week in our staff meeting, we talk about something from that book. And so we have a question or a topic. And our first question that we talked about was, if church was a sports team, what does winning look like? So it was an interesting question to consider. We came up with a bunch of answers, but the analogy of the church being a sports team really hit home for me. Teams have managers or coaches. And those coaches work really hard to build up the skills of their players on their team. And they want their benches to be, quote, deep, so that when the starting players get tired and burned out, then the other players are fresh and they can put in the fresh players. And what about the special teams? Like in football, the kicking team is a vital part of the team. So they come in at a certain time and they do like the one specific thing that they like to, or they're good at, they do that one thing. They have to be ready to play at a moment's notice, and they can't say, I'm not ready yet, coach, give me, 5 more minutes, give me another year, and I'll be ready to play. Coaches and managers need to fill their rosters with people that are dedicated to winning the game, and they're ready to play at any time. So why am I intrigued by the analogy of the church and a sports team? Here's a quote from that book training manual that I was talking about. The church is God's team. Today, some Christians think that they can make disciples best without the church. They are sometimes tempted to quit the church and go the Christian life alone. But Christianity is a team sport. The church team is important because no one person has all the abilities, gifts, and wisdom of Jesus. We need each other to fulfill Christ's command. Though we're responsible to disciple those that God brings across our paths, we were never intended to do it alone. Working as a team helps us first to keep Jesus first, and it avoids exalting one player's importance above another. So we all have to be dedicated to the same goal. The church's end game, if you will, is a life well lived on this earth and life eternal with Jesus. So the church has to be dedicated to that goal, Jesus, and to our church and community. That's the only way that church works. It's the only way that church wins. When we're all dedicated to the same goal, when everyone is ready to play, then God wins. So I recently saw a bunch of posts on Facebook that they showed pictures of senior days, where seniors on a sports team are honored for their time on their team. And so these seniors have spent time, usually about 4 years, working on their own skills. But not only that, but they've been mentoring other kids to come along so that when they graduate, those kids can take their spots. Lately at Trinity, there have just been a huge amount of funerals. And I don't know the exact number, but let's just say 10, probably in the last 8 weeks. Some of the people that passed away were building blocks in the history of Trinity. Longtime members who dedicated their lives to generous service at our church. Members who not only worked hard to live their lives well and follow Jesus the best they could, but they also mentored others to learn how to do that as well. The church operates on the same principles as a sports team. When someone dies or someone has a major life change and needs to take a break, the players on the bench have to step up. Here's another quote from that book. There are different vantage points from which to experience any game. Sadly, many Christians believe that the Christian life can be played from the stands. They never get on the field. In other words, they don't have a place in ministry that they serve in the church, and they don't share Christ with anyone. Instead, they watch their pastors and ministers play because they consider them the paid professional players. So my question for you today is, are you in the stands? Are you on the sidelines? Or are you in the game? So my challenge to you is to get in the game. Take a step forward in your faith. Learn something new about Jesus, about the Christian life. Grow your faith. Live life off the bench.